Yo, what up, MG fam? It's your boy McGruff, and we're back, man. Back with the Prairie View Legacy here on College Hoops 2K8. Yo, following our loss to Temple in the last round, man, we had a great season, man. You cannot hate on it. You already know we made a lot of progress. I knew coming into this season that we had our best team. Talent-wise, bro. We had enough star power to compete with the big dogs, and all we need is one more piece. Maybe that center position or that shooting guard position to take us to the next level. So we're going to be looking to grab some of those guys in the offseason. But first up, let's go ahead and finish simulating the NCAA tournament. So you guys know Temple slid on to the Sweet 16 and they will be facing Maryland. Yo, Maryland is a pretty good team as well, but I think Temple got those dogs. And you got Kansas facing UNLV, Georgia Tech going up against Syracuse. Hey, that's going to be a good one. Northwestern facing Florida. And on the other side, you got West Virginia, the top dogs, facing Indiana. Texas A&M facing Miami. And Louisville facing Alabama. And USC facing Rice, who we took care of earlier this season. So after simulating the Sweet 16, you got Temple advancing. And they'll face UNLV. Georgia Tech made it, and they'll face Florida. And West Virginia, you knew they advanced, and they'll face Miami. And Alabama will face USC. So now let's simulate all the way to the Final Four. And the Final Four is set. You got Temple facing Florida, and you got West Virginia facing USC. So I think that championship game may end up being Temple versus West Virginia, unless Florida bring the pain and upset Temple. And then you got the number one seed, the last number one seed left. But first off, we're going to slide to the NIT to let you guys see the NIT champs of this year. It goes to North Carolina State. They took out Mississippi State in the championship game. And the top player from North Carolina State was Logan. He had 27 points, 4 rebounds, 8 and a block. He went 10 for 18, so I guess he said, hey, my boy Ramelli couldn't get hot, so I'm going to take over. He was killing it out there. So back over to the NCAA tournament. You got your championship game. So Temple slid on to the championship game. Hey, they had a close one against Florida, and West Virginia took care of USC. Beat them by 30. So the championship game has Temple, the team we lost to, facing the top team in the nation. So it's time for the championship game, but first we're going to take a look at how these teams match up. Hey, you can't sleep on Temple, bro. Temple they playing pretty good basketball, and their overall is not that far away from West Virginia. But West Virginia got that coach Bob Huggins. Hey, you better bring your A game because he has a bunch of A students, and after simulating the championship game, West Virginia put 100 on their heads as well, and the score was 100-68. Temple, y'all had a hell of a season, but when it came down to the championship game, y'all couldn't hang with Felton and Meade and those boys. That team was a little too loaded, and they have a very experienced coach in Bob Huggins. So now that the NCAA tournament is over, we're going to slide over to the individual awards. So you got your NCAA champs, West Virginia. Yo, this roster is loaded, and they have 4 seniors. 4 great players leaving, but you can tell they got some guys to fill in those spots already. And the Player of the Year award goes to Hubert Maxill from Indiana. Yo, he took his team far in the tournament, but he couldn't get it done. But he averaged 25 points this year. Hey, they started feeding the ball to him more and more each year. And your Mid-Major Player of the Year award goes to Dexter Gill, the center from George Mason. He averaged 25 as well, and he finished his career with a 17.7 average. And the Coach of the Year award, you already know that's going to Bob Huggins. I don't know how many he has. He could have like 4 already. You know, he always putting together the best team in the nation, and he is a defensive-minded coach. So you already know he don't care about scoring, but he just gets enough. And speaking of defense, the Defensive Player of the Year award goes to Meade from West Virginia. The senior small forward averaged 12 points this year. And the Big Man of the Year award goes to Hubert Maxill. You know, hey, if you win the Player of the Year as the big man, you're gonna get that Big Man of the Year award. And the Freshman of the Year goes to Sharif Morales Syracuse, man. That kid come from Montreal, Canada. Average 9.7 a game. Hey, how do they choose these freshmen of the year? Well, my boy Morgan, Vincent Morgan, he averaged double digits. And now we're gonna slide on to the conference awards. You already know the conference champs here in the SWAC. Prairie View, baby, holding it down. Hey, check our roster out. It doesn't look like West Virginia, but we're on our way. And the Coach of the Year award goes to Coach Ubaka. Yo. Hopefully we get some more tribute points so we can add to his teaching and scouting this year. And we're trying to make him into the next Bob Huggins, baby. So the Conference Player of the Year award, oh man, they snubbed my boy Okafor once again. They gave it to Lance King. Lance King had a pretty good season. Hey, his team was good enough to land his coach some offers for a new job. And the Conference Freshman of the Year goes to my boy Vincent Morgan. 12 points, baby. 12 points per game. Hey, next year he's gonna look to up that. We try to get him into like the 15-point average range. And first team all conference, we only had one player land on this team, and it's my boy Okafor. So you got Mel Walker there, Staten and Styles and King. All right, so that's a pretty good first team all conference. You can tell that the conference is coming along with us with the improvements that we're making. We're bringing all of these eyes to the SWAC, and the teams are getting better as well. Hopefully we can pull up each team in our conference and have one of the best mid-major conferences in the NCAA. And the second team, you got Noel, Pandolf, Thompson, Brady, and Gomez. So each player in the second team averaged double digits as well, except for Noel. So hey, the conference is getting pretty tough, baby. That's what I like to see. And the freshman all conference list got my boy Okafor on here again. What, did he run out of slots or something? They could have gave it to somebody else. And Morgan is there, that's true. You got North there from Alcorn State, Hanavan from Alabama State, and Burton from Jackson State. So disregard my boy Okafor, he shouldn't be there. They got him all over the place. They love him. They already priming my boy for his first MVP award next year. So now that we're finished with the conference awards, let's slide on to graduation, baby. And we have 3 players graduating this year. You got my boy Larger. He came in, made a pretty decent splash. He was our first decorated recruit. Larger came in. The dude was Mr. Basketball of Hawaii. We were happy to see him come through. We thought he was gonna be probably the best player we've seen come through Prairie View, but it didn't work out. But he gave us some pretty decent moments in Prairie View history. He was here for a few NCAA tournament runs. He was here for our first ever NCAA tournament victory. You can see that his sophomore year, he averaged 10 points per game. Then after that, it started going down more and more. I think the arrival of Okafor kind of slid him out of the spotlight. We were giving him most of the shots one time, but hey, Okafor came in and showed us, yo, I'm the real deal, coach. You can put the team on my back. This kid Larger, put him on the bench. But Larger, man, we appreciate your services here at Prairie View. Hold it down, young fella. You're gonna always have a spot in Prairie View history. And next up is Ellis Reynolds, one of the point guards that we had for a little while. Ellis came in as a 2-star guard, top 200 at his position. Hey, that kid improved a lot, yo. He helped us out on the defensive end as well as knocking down some threes throughout his career. He had one of his best seasons this year, especially rebounding. He improved a lot. He averaged 4 points per game, assists. We didn't need him to, distribute the ball as much, but defensively, like I said, you can see the improvement. All the way from a half of a steal in the second year up to a whole steal his last 2 years in the program. And last but not least, my boy Yetway, the power forward. Yo, Yetway came in, he improved a lot. Yo, he had one of the best games in Prairie View history that night. He dropped 40, that 40 piece. Hey, he averaged 6.7 this year. He had his best season ever in his final year. Even though he wasn't starting almost every game, but we slid him in the starting lineup, he performed just like we needed him to. I appreciate my boy Yetway for coming through. We didn't think he was gonna make that much noise when we recruited him, but yo, Yetway surprised a lot of people here at Prairie View. So now on to the coach's record, yo. Ubaka been doing this thing for 8 years, fellas. and he's seen some great things. He's creeping up on 150 wins, baby. And you can see those first 2 seasons a little rough for your boy, but he kept improving. We made it to the NCAA tournament in our 3rd year and continued to go 3 years in a row. And then we had a little 2-year slump in the NIT, trying to figure things out once again. We made it back this year, and we made it the farthest that we ever made it. The 2nd round, baby, because we got the dogs. So now let's move on to the coaching carousel, yo. We got some new faces in the SWAC, man. Some new faces. Your boy Wicks, the head coach for Alabama State, slid on out of there, bro. We're gonna figure out where he went. But first up, man, let's check out Kelly. Coach Kelly got his first head coaching gig, bro. Hopefully the guy has some great success. He's gonna have to follow in the footsteps of that boy Wicks, who went 14-19 last year, 10-8 in the conference, enough to get him on out of there. So Kelly, hopefully your roster is not that bad, and hopefully you can get a few dubs this year. And we also got another new face. Arkansas Pine Bluff fired Coach Owens, and Eustachi will come in. He has 209 wins, 186 losses, so he's a proven winner. And Coach Wicks went on to Florida Atlantic. Hey, that team had a 4-23 record. So Coach Wicks, you're coming from Alabama State. I think you will do pretty good with the talent they have at Florida Atlantic. But this roster here doesn't look that good. You have 2 players above 60. Hopefully they have some transfers waiting on you as well. And hopefully you can get some dubs and not get ran out of Florida. So now we're going to move on to the transfer recap, man. We don't have any players coming to Prairie View this year, but the SWAC got a few new faces coming to the conference. First up, man, you got Mr. Swartz from California, man. He come from Santa Ana, California. He's going to be heading to Grambling. I'm not sure why he wanted to move to Grambling out of all schools, all the way from the West Coast to the Third Coast, baby. And then you got Maceo Mullins going to Alabama A&M, all the way from Chicago, Illinois. He come from Valparaiso. Hey, that young man is a shooting guard, 6'3", 216. So they finally got a shooter over there in Alabama A&M. And last but not least, you got Dalgarn, the small forward from Louisiana Tech. He's from Louisiana himself, so he's going to slide over to Arkansas Pine Bluff. Hey, that young man will get a lot of shine next year. So now we're going to move on to our recruiting, baby. You already know we got to add those few pieces to get us to the Sweet 16. We're going to try to surpass the 2nd round this year, and you already know we got a couple of dogs already. So we were able to sign Millar, the shooting guard, 6'4", 193. We got another shooter on the team, baby, to help my boy Okafor and Morgan out. Yo, so our backcourt is finally completed. We lost the dude to Drew Roberts, but we don't care because we were focusing on that boy Dejamal. We're gonna call him DJ. He's a B+ at shooting, and his athleticism is an A-. That what stood out to me. So at the end of the offseason, we were able to sign 3 players. We got Reeves, DJ, and Mathis. So Mathis is a point guard. We're gonna slide him on in there because you know Trayvon is going to be a senior this year. We're gonna need somebody to back up my boy Okafor next year. So he's not the best. He's a 2-star guard, but we're gonna try to develop him into a 3-and-D guy. So in the AAU, you can see he shot 44% from 3-point land. And you know how I feel about shooters. So now let's take a look at the rest of the signings around the conference. You got Southern up first. They signed 3 power forwards. Only 1 player was ranked nationally, and that's the Jazz kid. He's 6'7", 187. Hey, he might be somebody in the future, but right now we're not worried about him. And then we're gonna move over to the Texas Southern guys. They signed a 3-star recruit in Gail Beeler. He's a 6'3" shooting guard, so he might get some burn early. And they signed 2 other 2-stars, 1 a shooting guard and 1 a power forward. And then you got Alabama A&M signing 2 power forwards, a center and a small forward. The best player being Jared Falls, the 6'6", 187 guy from Nashville, Tennessee. And Alabama State only signed 2 guys, both are JUCO players. And they're both centers, so you know they might come in and be able to make some impact early. And Alcorn State signed 2 guys as well, a small forward and a shooting guard. The small forward is a JUCO player, 2 stars, 6'7", 222. Hey, he's from Jackson, Mississippi. He might be somebody in a little bit, but right now, like I said about the other guy, he is not to be worried about. And Arkansas Pine Bluff signed a bunch of guys, 5 2 stars. Their best player being their center, Jabari. And they also have a point guard who was ranked 776 in the nation. And Grambling was able to sign 4 guys, all point guards, and their best player is a JUCO point guard, Mr. L.T. Hargett, 5'10", 162. Hey, they got him a small guard. He might be a shooter. And Jackson State signed 3 players, 2 small forwards, a power forward. Both of the small forwards are 2 stars, not ranked, but the best on their board is L. Grace Chavis, 6'8", 203. And Mississippi Valley State, they've been recruiting pretty good these last few years. They signed 3 point guards. Their best player is Pompey, Mr. Bobby. He's from Houston, Texas. We could have got that kid. And that wraps up the conference. And you guys can take a look at our roster. Yo, we look pretty okay. Our best player is still my boy Okafor, and the second best player is that boy Jose Brady. Then you got Reeves, the freshman, coming in as a 72 overall, and Morgan is a 72 as well, and Miller 65, and we got Trayvon back there 61. Swanson is a 60 and straight. Couldn't crack the 60 mark, man. Only a 59. Him and Craven is a 58. So we got our center, baby. Baby Shaq, Mr. Reeves. Hey, I'm ready to see what this kid can do. Him and Miller. We know Miller probably got that jumper, baby. He got it. So now let's take a look at our starting lineup. Our point guard is going to be Okafor for sure. We're putting Miller at shooting guard. Morgan is going to be our small forward. Brady, you already know he's running the 4. And Reeves at the 5. And our 6th man is going to be Trayvon. Then we're going to have Straight back there and Swanson holding it down. So we're going to try to run like a 8 to 9 man rotation to start the season. But when we get in the conference tournament, when the postseason starts, we're going to try to trim that thing down to like 6 or 7 maybe. We're trying to keep the stars on the court so we can compete with the big dogs. But I appreciate you guys for watching this video. Hit that like button and notification bell, and we're out of here, man. Next episode, we're going to start back with the Midnight Madness. Also, I'm going to share the sliders in the next video as well. So I appreciate you guys once again. Don't forget to hit that like button and notification bell and subscribe, baby. We out of here. 1.